How's it going, YouTubers? Farrington Empire here. I'm going to try something different, new, and exciting today. I have a webcam on my face to see if you can see me in the top left-hand corner. If you can't, disregard everything I've just said. Either way, today I have, going hand in hand with my fail upload last Tuesday, I've lost all of my save documentation here. But I think it's a fantastic time to do a little bit of tutorial work. I've had a couple people ask me to do a couple tutorials here, so I'm going to do a few and gain some science in the process. So, if you're looking to get started, and you're starting to do Kerbal Space program for the very first time, set your sights low to begin with. Don't bite off more than you could chew, something that I am notoriously good at. So, what we're going to do here is just something nice and simple. Here we go. We're going to take this little guy and see if we can't get... I doubt very seriously we're going to get into orbit, but we'll have a fun time attempting it. So, first things first, if you're trying to create your own craft, symmetry is going to be your best friend. A lot of people have trouble taking off and making sure that they're taking off in a straight trajectory because their crafts are unbalanced. If you look here, you can get a good view from the top here, checking it out, to make sure it looks nice and straight, which it does. So this year we don't have much in the way of tech and toys, so it's going to be really basic. We're just going to have a simple fuselage here with an engine and two solid-state rockets on the front here. Always important. Throw a parachute to get you back down. I am going to toss two more on these solid-state rockets because we don't have any decouplers. So in terms of wings and so forth, you don't need them. I'm going to get fancy here and give us basically just some launch legs. Now, if you want to know, I saw a lot of YouTubers doing this when I was first starting. I didn't know what they were doing. If you want to duplicate a part without going back into the settings over here, all you have to do is hold Alt and click on the object that you want to duplicate, and it'll grab it and duplicate it for you. Okay, so I basically just made myself a nice little launch platform. It's not necessary. You don't have to do this. My goal here is to launch straight up in the air and come straight back down. As you can see, I am symmetrical. All of my parts are the same weight. I have the same amount on each side. Everything is hunky-dory. So, what we can do here is just say simple launch craft 1 here. So let's name it simple craft Mark 1. Okay. Kill to space. Maybe. Okay. Let's save it. Let's launch it. Wait. Action groups. You have to keep in mind that you do have action groups. You don't want your parachutes launching at the same time that your rockets do, because that's counterproductive. Okay, so save it after you've set up your action groups and hit launch. Okay, we're on the launch pad. For those of you who may be asking, but Farrington Empire, how do you do those launch stages over here on the left-hand side now is where they've moved. So you can see the minus at the top and the plus at the bottom. That just, a minus will remove that action group. Or that stage is what those are called technically. It'll remove that stage, and a plus will add a new one in. So you can add one in between, or you can remove one completely. Click and drag to move each component from stage to stage. You can see it by highlighting, if I'm highlighting the rocket with the number 2 next to it, as you can see my two solid state rockets are now blinking. So what I'm going to do is... You know what, this is fine. I'm going to trigger all 3 rockets at the same time, but I'm going to remain throttled down. So the solid state rockets are going to fire first. Once they start to burn out, I'm going to throttle up with the liquid rocket, which is the center rocket, and we'll see how high that can get us. Solid state should get us pretty high. Liquid should not. It's a little heavy for that, so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to take Jeb on an EVA here. We're going to grab a hold of him. He's going to give us an EVA report. Most precarious situation indeed. He is going to board. We're going to grab a crew report and submit that here. Oh, I have no comms device. Ha ha ha. That was foolish, but that's okay. So, first flight, we're going to launch our solid state rockets throttled completely down. To throttle down, you can hit X to completely cut, or Control to throttle down, Shift to throttle up. Okay, here we are. We're going to launch in 3, 2, 1, go. SAS is not entirely necessary, as we do have a symmetrical craft. We're going to fly pretty much straight up in the air. The solid state rockets now are about a little under halfway done. As they come down, I'm going to throttle up with our liquid stage. A little bit of course correction. The craft is already naturally starting to do a little bit of a natural gravity turn. We can turn SAS on now with T. That'll just help us hold a heading. And because we're going to run out of fuel eventually, I would like to land near the VAB. When you get into trouble, just turn your throttle off. That is the best way to do it, I find. Okay? Now, to get us back on track here, turn on SAS once you hit the place where you want to be, which is roundabouts there. Throttle back up. And this little craft is going to get us nice and high up into orbit here. Well, it's going to be a suborbital flight no matter how you cut it. There we go, and we have flamed out. So, once our velocity heads us, if I can speak, back towards Kerbin. Yeah, see, look at that. Nice. Okay. So this is about little incremental moments here. So let's do a crew report from here. We're going to overwrite it. We're going to hang on to that data. Okay. Right. Good. I'm going to speed this up just a touch. Yes, I know. Thank you. As we're coming back down to Kerbin. Picking up some speed. What I'm going to do now is deploy the chutes. Now these deploy at 500 meters above the ground. So what this is going to do now is when they are not fully deployed, this is going to add drag. This drag is going to slow us down, slow our descent until the time comes for those to deploy. As you can see, if you are watching this in 1080p, my surface speed is reducing dramatically. I'm currently getting down around 200 meters per second. Now, when these deploy, it should be around 150. It'll be much beneath that, but at that point in time, you don't run the risk of damaging your craft. The heavier your craft is when your chutes deploy, and the faster you're going, you run the risk of damage, losing parts, so forth. So, this is going really well. I have getting down to about 120 meters per second. I'm going to speed us up here. I'm down to 100 meters per second. And there they go. They fully deploy. I'm now going 9 meters per second, which is more than enough to make a safe landing, especially on the landing legs that I've created here. Here we come. Coming on in. We've got our shadow coming down. Jeb looks happy, looking excited. Here we go. And touchdown now. Bloop. There you go. That is a successful Kerbal landing. So let's take Jeb on an EVA. We're going to go ahead and let him let go. Oof, he falls down. but he's Jeb. He's okay. So this is our first flight. So what I'm going to do is right here, we're going to take a surface sample. Yep, looks like dirt. And then right over here, we're going to plant ourselves a flag. It's going to be our first flag of the occasion. And as you can see with the new here, I have the official. This is landing site number 1. And this is going to be successful. My spelling is terrible. Don't judge me. Landing at Kerbin. No deaths. Suborbital flight. Okay, so this is fantastic for our first run. It may seem dumb, it may seem trivial, but this is a good thing. So we can switch to our craft here. Recover the vessel. I suggest recovering a vessel first. Okay, so after recovering that vessel, we have earned 14 science. That's great. If we go back to our tracking station here, we can catch up with Jeb, recover Jeb. Jeb carries with him 23 science because of his EVA report and his surface sample. So in that one quick mission, we've earned 23 science to play with. So here we have our first science to unlock, which is 5. Gives us a larger fuselage, a goo containment unit to get more science, a small fuel tank, and a stack decoupler. This is really going to help us out. We still have 18 science to burn. 20, 18, 15. 18 gives us radial decouplers, a winglet, and an aerodynamic nose cone. And with the survivability perk, we get a LV-909 liquid-fueled engine, landing struts, and a radial mount parachute. Now, me personally, what I'm going to go for is the radial mount parachute, landing strut, and the LV-909, because this opens up the opportunity to go to Minmus. So, flight number 2, you're ready to graduate, you're ready to get into orbit, and possibly even go to Minmus. Why Minmus, you say? It's further out, it's going to be a little bit more maneuver heavy and so forth. Yes, however, it's much easier to land on Minmus than it is the Mun, if we're going to call it by the appropriate name. So, I'm going to craft up a quick orbiter. We'll go with orbiter first. We'll get into space. Maybe we'll go to Minmus. So those won't... Boop, 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 boop. Okay. LV-909 is extremely efficient, which is why I use it so much. I'm going to do a 3 landing leg design here. It's a very small craft. We don't need anything that crazy. Okay. For our science, we need to put some goo containers. The more you have, the more readings you could take. Ah, speedy tea delivery. Thanks. That's Poop Shoot Boogie, by the way. Alrighty. So, let's put 4 goo containers on there. This way we can take measurements while we're taking off, while we're in orbit, and while we're on Minmus. And if we land in the water on Kerbin, while we're in the water on Kerbin. Haha. Okay, so as we learned in the last one, I need to be able to transmit this data back. So I'm going to put 2... What have I done? Where are they? Come in. Aha. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I'm going to put 2 antennas on here. Because as stated before, you want to make sure you keep the weight evenly distributed. Okay, so I've got those, and then for re-entry, I'm going to put 2 radial chutes on there as well, up here on the command pod. That's going to be important. Okay. It's going to keep it the right side up when I put the landing legs down upon re-entry, which is going to be good for us. Okay, so now we get to put a stack decoupler. This is our final stage to land on Minmus. Ha ha ha. So for the fuselage, we want to come up with something good to get us into orbit. So, onward with our middle stage here, which I believe it should only have two. Two fuselage should be plenty. There we go, and then we'll put this guy beneath, but not before we put our stack decoupler on there. Fantastic. Okay, so there we have that. Next up we'll do this, and this, and this. We'll do 3 stacks here, and then let's get crazy, and let's do... Can we put 4 of these on there? Let's put 6 of these. 6 of those, you say? Yes. Here we go. Why am I doing that? No. Okay, so out here we'll put these guys straight, nice and flush. Okay, good, good. 2 more of those, and let's get our those. Okay, and then these for good measure. The goal is to get us into orbit. Okay. Now at this kind of a launch, you're going to be resting directly on the engine here, which can cause some stress. So let's do what I did before and add the structural element here, which is this. Aha. Can I not? That's brilliant. Okay. Spin these. For small adjustments like that, you're going to want to hold shift while you're placing your object. There we go. That's a monstrosity if I've ever seen one. Now let's see if the thing holds together. Now, we're going back into action groups over here. Fire all 6, fire the center one, and fire the solid rocket boosters all at the same time. Then we have this, then that engine, then decouple again, and then we have this engine. Let's make sure that that's in its own stage. Actually in the same stage as to where that goes. There we go. So as soon as I decouple, the next rocket is going to fire. That's going to be imperative. Okay, cool. So this is going to be to orbit maybe the moon. Oh wait, that's a description. Orbiter slash min musser. To orbit or space, perhaps. Okay. Looks good to me. So what we want to do now is save this now that we have everything settled. Now this craft is unstable to say the least. So we want to do this nice and quick. It's already twisting. I'm nervous. Let's throttle up. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh yeah. You know, they say accuracy is increased with a spiral, which is why football players play and put a spiral on the ball. Something tells me that's not the case here. This is spectacular. Look at that. Jeb loves it. You know he does. So remember that lesson I said about don't bite off more than you can chew? It's a good moment. God, look at the nav ball. We are definitely a projectile. Jeb's happy about it. He couldn't care less. Let's slow it down. Alrighty. Next. There. Okay. Here's something to do right now, while we are trying to normalize this. Let's do a crew report and transmit it. And let's begin our nice and late gravity turn. What do you think? There we go. Perfection. Let's look at our orbit map here. We're nearly to space. Oh my god. Well, I would like us to get at least into space. And I think we could do that. I doubt very seriously that we're going to be able to have an orbit. But there we are. Well, we're in space. That much is for sure. We're at 78. There we go. That'll drop back nice and lovely. There we go. Let's check our resources. Okay, so what a lot of YouTubers also don't know is you lose electric charge the more you maneuver. And you lose electric charge when your SAS is on because it's constantly correcting. So once your SAS gets you where you want to be, turn it off. Okay, so beep beep. Oh, that's a cute trajectory. Looky there. So here we can add a maneuver to circularize our orbit. 78 and 340. Let's bring the head down. Don't mind the cats. 43. Ah, okay. So we could do this here. Ooh. Get right in the center. 78 and 78. That's pretty darn close. Okay, so we can point at our trajectory of where we need to be, right here. Burn like the dickens, because we started late. We're not pushing a lot of mass, so we might be able to achieve our orbit, but it also really depends on how much fuel we have. So, if we look at our staging, good. Okay. And because we're burning after our apoaps, I'm pointing up to kind of pull our orbit around. Can point it down. There we go. We may actually be able to get into orbit. I'd like to make sure we have enough to deorbit. But it looks like we may actually do this. I love how efficient these little engines are. I really do. The LV-909 is really fantastic. It's a wonderful lander engine. Okay, so this is where we bump, 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 and cut. 81, 74. Let's point towards the horizon. Burn a touch. 75, 84. That's okay. That's okay. So, easy. Easy, Kerbal. So look at that. We are currently in orbit. Let us observe some mystery goo. The goo is clumped into a sphere, also has become brittle. Fantastic. Let's take a crew report. Transmit that back to Kerbin. Good. Let's get an EVA report from Jeb. Let us first let go. Drift away from the craft. Woohoo! Alrighty. Head back. Don't want to get too far away. Grab hold. Let's board. Wonderful. Okay. There you go. So let's do a little bit of time acceleration here. I forgot this. Turn off our SAS. There we go, coming around. Should be daylight soon. There we go. Okay, the sun has risen. And we can flip ourselves around. I don't know if that was necessarily smart. Okay, because we want to point retrograde. There we go. So we can now begin our descent back into Kerbin. So we've observed one of our canisters, which is, I believe, that one. So we can observe this one. Good. Great. Let's look at our orbit map here. See if I can bring us back in right on top of the VAB. Okay. Okay. Now that's 8,000. That should be enough. Should be more than enough to get us in range. Okay, so now in order to correct this, we want to aim. If that is the direction we are heading. Math hurts my brain. Okay. Right there. If I bump that. Good, good, good. Good. That gets us right online with the VAB. And we could do that, which will drop us right over, right as we run out of fuel. Perfect. Okay, so let's check this out. Our descent should go thusly. Speed up that camera. Okay, we have entered the atmosphere. Come on, Kerbal. Okay. Now, we should just be able to sit back, relax, and let the rest of this do it for us. Now, the next stage is to deploy the chutes. So you want to be pointed retrograde for that, which re-entry will do for you. I did it preemptively. No need. For the sake of fireworks, I'm putting our landing legs down too. Should be lots of fun. So let's speed this up. 4 times time acceleration. We'll be coming in. Once the re-entry effects start, I would like to observe one of the goo canisters. There we go. See, it's starting to right itself for the re-entry. Our re-entry effects have started taking place here. Slow ourselves down to normal time acceleration here. Let's observe our mystery goo. Goo's getting very cold. Something doesn't make sense about this. Okay, so we're coming in. Good, good, good. Jebediah to mission control. So what we should see, yeah, we're not going to make it. That's okay. We came in way too shallow, which is fine. I am going to hop back in because we're going to need to deploy chutes so that we don't lose everything. But the good news is we're going to land in water, and we're going to be able to take readings from the water. So I get to take a crew report now and keep the data because it's a crew report over water, which is different than a normal crew report. It does the game does take all these sorts of things into consideration. So as the atmosphere becomes thicker and thicker, we are still scrubbing speed. Once we get to about 10,000 feet, I'm going to deploy the chutes. We are nearly there. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And as stated before, they are not fully deployed, so they're going to add a lot of really delightful drag for us, which is going to slow us down quite a bit. And now that we have 2 additional, it's going to be even more. There's no real need for the landing legs, so I'll retract those. And I'm going to speed this up as we come in for a landing. Until we get down to about 5,000, I'll slow it down. Word of warning. Word to the warning? Word to the warning! When you are in time acceleration, sometimes when your chutes deploy, your stuff will break. So wait until they deploy, and then you can time accelerate down to the water, and then also slow down before you hit the water, just to ensure that you preserve all of your lovely science experiments that you worked so hard to gather. Okay, so there's our reflection. And I'm going to slow us down. Nice and slow as we make a delightfully soft landing. I'm going to roll us over this way. Lovely. Let's observe our mystery goo. The goo escapes into the water. Ah! Let's do an EVA. Go ahead and let go, sir. There you go. Now you're in the water. Kerbals can swim. That's the good news. So, go ahead and take yourself a surface sample. It appears to dramatically increase the surface humidity of anything it touches. Good to know. I'm happy to hear it. Okay, so now that we're back over here, should be able to grab hold of this. Quiet you. Okay. Apparently it can't. So what we'll do is we switch to the craft. Recover the vessel first. Always recover the vessel first. Vessels don't always stay. Sometimes they'll despawn. I don't know if they've fixed this. I could be insane. But Kerbals always stay on the surface. Okay, so we've earned 46.9 science from that mission. Let's go back and get Jeb. Jeb, splash down. Let's get him back. How much did Jeb bring to the table? Jeb brought an additional 12 science because he brought a surface sample of the water. Okay, good to know. Okay, so this puts us in a good spot for our science. We now have 68 science to burn. We can get basic rocketry for our, stability. Basic stability, general rocketry, which will give us another liquid-fueled engine, Sepatron, which are fantastic for staging, and Rockamax solid fuel boosters. These are the big boy solid fuel boosters, which will definitely help us along the way. Okay, so everything from this point on is 45 science, so we can start mapping out where we want to go. If we want to do advanced rocketry, which gives us yet again a new fuel tank and new radial mount liquid engines, which are good. They're not very fuel efficient, but they're good engines. So we can definitely do that. Or we can do structural, general construction, which has our strut connectors, launch stability enhancers, radial decouplers. These are the big boys. They're really wonderful. And a stack tri-coupler, which is also very good. You can do the new flight control, which has a new winglet, the first flight cockpit, the Stay Putnik probe, so you no longer have to do manned missions, and a new inline reaction wheel, which will help keep stability of larger vessels. And then you have the new science tech tree, which has battery packs, which means you can transmit more science when you're out and about. You can get a science junior, which gives you more science when you're out and about. And the first new comms dish, which gives you better science. I think you can transmit a higher percentage of science with that, and at greater distances. So now we can look at going to other like the moons and other planets if we really want to. So I think that's going to be a good place to wrap up video number 1 for the tutorials. I know a lot of it was just me running some missions, but I hope you can learn from that. If there's anything you'd like me to go in depth more with, please let me know. Let me know if you like the webcam so you can see my beautifully mustachioed, bearded face. Yeah, please touch base with me. Let me know what you're thinking, what you'd like to see in upcoming videos. I will be posting a few more tutorials in the days to come, and there will be more Conker's Bad Fur Day. My intro was broken on the last one, and I noticed that after I posted it, so it should be fixed for the upcoming one this Thursday. So, as always, I have been Farrington Empire. You have been absolutely fantastic, and this has been Kerbal Space Program. As always, have a good one, guys, and we'll see you next time.